Ключевые. Azerbaycan.
İngilizce, Azerbaycanca da olur.
Salam hörmətli qonaqlar, valideynlər və tələbələr. Bugün hər birinizi bu saatda bugün görmək üçün çox şadıq, çox məmnunuq. Çox danışmayacağım. Gəlin bugünkü mövzumuz haqqında biraz danışaq. Bugün British Council tərəfindən sertifikata sahib hörmətli müəllim, trener Ramиз Самедов bugün bizim üçün seminar keçirəcək. Spikerimiz IELTS imtahanında, beynəlxalq IELTS imtahanında 7 və daha çox nəticəni necə əldə etmək haqqında danışacaq və bölüşəcək. Ona görə gəlin mən çox danışmayım, Ramiz bəyə sözü verim. Hamınıza xoş izləmələr. Təşəkkür ederim.
Hi everyone. I've decided to conduct this training in English. I hope it's suitable for all of you. Any part of it that will be confusing, we can switch to Azerbaijani. I can clarify the details. Briefly about myself, my name is Ramez Samedov. I've been working as an IELTS instructor for more than 6 years. During the first year of that period, I've also taught some general English groups, so I have experience on teaching English from beginner to upper intermediate in all levels. But for these last 5 years, I've mainly concentrated on IELTS teaching itself, and it has become my specialization. My current IELTS score is 8.5. I've taken IELTS exams 3 times. The first one was 8, and the last 2 I got 8.5 from both of them. I have certificates on teaching. I have completed my TESOL certification on Arizona State University. I have TKT certificates from Cambridge University, and 2 years ago I've been certified by British Council as IELTS teacher trainer. So I do not only conduct classes for students to prepare them for IELTS exam, but I also provide trainings for English teachers and certify them to become IELTS instructor. So all this accumulated knowledge is designated here to be shared with you and to help you in the preparation period. I wanted to make it flexible. I wanted to understand what are your needs during the preparation of IELTS exam and give you information which is specified to your needs. So I would like to know if anyone here is already preparing for IELTS exam. Not yet, okay. You are preparing. In the past, have you taken
2018?
2018, you have taken the exam or
Yes.
only prepared?
6.5.
6.5. Okay, all right. The rest of you, are you aiming to take IELTS exam or do you have the plan? Okay, for educational purposes, I guess. Right. Okay. You can, by the way, communicate. Feel free to. Volume up your voices, all right? Good. Brief information, then let's start from the generals of it. Do you know how many parts, how many sections we have in IELTS exam?
3.
3? Which ones? 4? Okay, which ones are
4.
Reading,
Yeah, okay.
speaking, writing.
Did you miss any part
Yeah.
in the exam? Yeah.
Reading, speaking, writing,
Writing.
listening.
Yes, yes. So we have, one day we have the main exam of it being listening, reading and writing, and then in many cases the speaking exam is conducted separately. Do you know the difficulty level for candidates averagely? Like which section is the easiest one?
Hardest is writing.
Hardest is writing, yes, yes.
And the easiest is listening.
Listening, right, yes, yes. Averagely, like the order of difficulty goes like this. We have listening as the easiest section, then we have speaking, then we have reading, and the writing section itself. I'm planning to give you short tips and tricks from all these sections so that during your preparation period you can keep them in mind. Firstly, considering that majority of you here haven't started the preparation period yet, I would like to start from what you can do before starting to prepare IELTS or before starting to do practice for IELTS itself. What my experience shows me is that generally during the preparation period, the students who struggle to get higher score the most are the ones who have problems in their fundamental English. Because some students have wrong understanding that they will come to IELTS course and they will learn language. Even though at advanced level there is some language teaching, IELTS courses are generally designed to help you to use your current knowledge in the exam system and to get a particular score that aligns with your level there. So in a simplest way, from what level of English you start to prepare for IELTS mostly affects your score as a result at the end of the process, regardless of how long your preparation period took. Considering this, there are especially from grammar perspective, there are several topics that you have to work on. If these grammar topics are stronger, they will support you in the most difficult section, as you have mentioned, writing, and they will also help you to get higher score from speaking itself. So I'd like to start from these basics. What to focus on. In grammar. To me, the main topic that need to be worked on is perfect tenses. Okay. Starting by importance of it. There are lots of exam systems, there are lots of assessment systems. Any course that you go in Baku, they will also firstly do a level test with you. But no matter how precise this level test is prepared or designed, it is mostly a formality and it is mostly a procedure that more or less shows your level at this point. But the easiest way to understand if a person is a learner of English language or already a free user of English language, that benchmark is usually perfect tenses. Not for me, but also for examiners. Especially for the people from Azerbaijan, why this has become a special matter. Reason number one, how many tense forms are there in English? Do you know that? In general, how many tense forms are there? 4, 12, a bit higher than that actually. 16 to be precise. There are 16 tense forms in English language. That already makes it complicated because in Azerbaijan we have how many? No one knows. In Azerbaijan, how many tense forms do we have in our own language? That's sad to know. 5 tense forms. We have 2 different forms of past tense, present tense, and 2 different forms of future tense. Okay. So why I'm making this? It is easy to make connection between simple tenses of English and the tense forms in Azerbaijan because they are matching. Past simple of English is the past tense of Azerbaijan. Present is present, future is future. It's easier to grasp the physics of it, mechanism behind it, while when it comes to perfect tenses, people struggle because in our language we don't have perfect tenses. You have to understand it inside English language, okay? Again, reminding you, maybe you are questioning right now that we are here to learn something from IELTS, but surprisingly, main things that you would struggle in the exam, or one of the many reasons why you cannot get high score from writing section, is actually not in the IELTS itself, especially if you haven't started the preparation. It's in previous parts of the English that you have to fixate. You need to improve your fundamentals. Then IELTS will become piece of cake as a result of it. Okay, so working on perfect tenses, don't forget about that. Try to improve it. Do you know the formula of perfect tense? Structure, present perfect. What's the structure? Okay. Verb 3, right? Subject have verb 3.
Participle to second. Yeah.
That's participle second.
Participle second.
Yes, verb 3, participle second. Yes. When do we use perfect tense? Just let's shortly go through it so I can.
Present perfect. Yeah.
When do we use present perfect?
When something is occurred in the past and there is a connection with the present.
That sounds shady. You know, how do you create that connection with present? For example, I gave a training, I have given a training. Which one should I use? What do you think?
Position.
Sorry?
I gave the training.
And how do you decide it? What's the mechanism there? That sounds cooler.
You
That's
just
what-
finished. If you just finished.
But how do you decide it? Is it like 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes?
Yes, there is some. There are some words
So listen,
which you.
it's actually very easy to understand. It's very simple to remember as well. Grammatically saying I gave a training is wrong. This is with pure grammar, it's a mistake. What is past simple? An action that has started in the past and finished in the past. Okay? So to prove that it actually has finished, I need to give some kind of last point timeline. If you are making a sentence in past simple, you definitely need some kind of time indicator. I gave a training last year. I gave a training 2 days ago. Okay? But if there is no time limit, for different reasons. One, maybe there is, we don't know when the action has finished. Maybe it doesn't matter when the action finished. Maybe I don't want to share with you when the action finished. In all these scenarios, the ending of the action is mystery. That's why we will use present perfect there. Okay? So, for example, I have been to Turkey, action focus, right? I was in Turkey in 2018, time focus. The difference is very simple. Right? It's not something complicated, mechanisms of it is very simple, okay? It highly depends on, do I want to focus on action or do I want to focus on the time of that action? Depending on that, you will decide which tense form to use there, okay? The second topic from grammar that I would advise you to work on is passive voice. Do we know what is passive voice? Any idea? Can you make a sentence with passive voice in it?
He was told that he.
I was bored.
Simply, yes. The road was blocked, right? Passive voice. Why learning passive voice is important? One of the common mistakes candidates make in their essays, they personalize their ideas. Okay, so for example, we are reading essays of the students. Let's say our topic is about exam preparation, and somewhere in the essay we see a sentence where they say, I don't know, if you practice every day, you will get higher score at the end. Idea is nice, conditional sentence is used, nice, but this is personalized idea. When you write something like this in your essay, it sounds like you are giving an advice to me. Okay, because you have mentioned you there, all right? Or sometimes students write our world. Like in our world, it sounds like they are talking about themselves and me. It's like it's our world, but that's not what they actually want to express, right? Academic language advises you more to depersonalize your ideas, and the easiest or most advisable way of it is using passive voice in this case, okay? Another thing that you have to work on would be compound or complex sentence structures. I'm just trying to give you a short explanation because I want to touch lots of things. I hope you will do a research on this topic. As a general English topic, this is usually taught in upper intermediate or advanced level. Okay. Majority of people in our country who take the courses, they take the courses from beginner to intermediate. After intermediate, they are rushing to prepare for IELTS or for whatever exam they want to, which is a grave mistake, okay? Because I believe the essential knowledge that you need to score higher in IELTS exam is actually taught in upper intermediate or advanced levels. The students who have taken that level of courses have an easier preparation period. This is one of the key parts of this advanced course that will help you during the exam. Why it matters, all right? If you would go to the official IELTS website or British Council website, they have the band description of IELTS based on what your essay is assessed, okay? Shortly explaining the grading criteria. Let's see, in writing. There are 4 elements of this grading criteria based on which you are assessed. The first one of them being task response. How well you have responded to your task, how well you have responded to the question of the essay. Okay, for example, let's say different types of animals and plants are endangered around the world. What are the reasons? How to solve it? Okay, what is your task in this essay? To find out the reasons of why animals are going extinct, and then to provide some solutions to help to deal with this situation, right? How well you will do it, how well you will answer the questions is your task response there. The second criteria here is coherence and cohesion. Hi, please. Do you know what they mean? Coherence, cohesion. Have you heard these words? Yeah. What is it? Yes, exactly. Yes, this is this.
It's one action it's connected to another action.
More or less, yes. Coherence, cohesion demands your ideas to be logical, clear, and related to each other. Transition is essential for coherence, cohesion. The third criteria is lexical resource. What does lexical resource mean? No? It refers to your vocabulary, words that you use in the essay. And the last criteria here is grammar range and accuracy. Okay, what is range? How many different grammar tricks or rules you can apply in your essay? What is accuracy? How precisely you can use them. Okay, how many tense forms do you know? There are 16 tense forms, 4 of them are not active. There are 12 tense forms that I know. Do I need to use all 12? It's impossible. Okay. There's no physical dimension where you can use 12 tense forms in 200 words, okay? So how accurately you will decide which tense forms you have to use, that is your last criteria there. Now coming back to this, why I'm telling you to what to focus on in grammar. Compound complex sentences is the main value that will create the difference in this category. Okay, if you would look at the description of the band scores, for example, band 5 and band 7. Band 5 says occasionally uses complex structures. Band 7 says frequently uses complex structures. So what will create that jump in your essay, one of the main factors for that would be compound complex sentences, again, which is usually not taught in courses. That's why I advise you to work on it by yourself. Okay. As part of complex sentences, relative clauses will increase your score. Do you know what is relative clauses?
For example, I wouldn't have come if the topic wasn't interesting for me.
That is conditionals. Very nice example of conditionals, actually. That's our next point. But what is relative clauses? Relative clauses is, for example, I spent the summer with my brother who studies abroad. That who studies abroad is a relative clause. Okay, that also creates a complex sentence in this case. These 5 topics, usually the students who already are informed, they already can actively use these 5 elements. Generally have higher score from writing section. Okay. Because during the course your teachers will teach you task response. Our main job in the writing course is to teach you an advisable structure to write your essay, or approaches, or how you have to answer the question actually. During the course they will give you some materials on coherent cohesion. During the course you will learn some vocabulary, but during the course grammar will mainly be taught to you on fail and learn system. Like you will write, the teacher will mark that this is mistake, don't do it like that, and you have to learn from that. So if you are already informed about this beforehand, this part will be easier for you, which is one of the 4 components. Scoring system, how it goes, they give you a score from each of these criteria, okay? And you don't get the half score from subcategories. For example, your task response can be either 6 or 7. There's no 6.5 in task response, okay? Let's say you got 7 from task response, 6 from coherence cohesion, 7 from vocabulary, 7 from grammar, okay? What does it make in total? 21 plus 6, 27, right? Unfortunately, that average value at the end, it is mostly told that it is rounded down. So with mathematical average, what do we get here? 7, right? But in the inside the writing section, it is rounded down. So this kind of scoring means you will get 6.5 from the essay. Okay. To achieve 7 from writing section, your average should be solid 7 or higher than that. Either I need to make this one 7, or I need to make one of them 8, so that it would compensate and I would get 7 there. Okay. One of the many factors why we struggle to get higher score from writing section. So your training, your preparation should be comprehensive and cover all these parts to improve your performance there. Okay. This is about what to focus on in grammar. Now, another key topic that usually students struggle with, again, this is something that your teacher should teach you. It is a very long topic to discuss, and it really depends on what type of the essay you are dealing with. But this coherence cohesion is something that you may learn before starting to prepare for an exam. For that, we have to work on linking, or with another name, we call it transition. Okay? Is anyone preparing for SAT exam? Yes? Okay. So this is a topic that is familiar to you guys. Transition is also important in SATs. Now we have 3 versions of transition. Okay? Transition number 1. Let's say conjunctions in compound sentences. This is one version of transition, or we call it in-sentence transitions. Inside the sentence, when we have 2 clauses, we can connect them with, let's say, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Okay? Right? I took a taxi and I went to airport. Right? We have 2 clauses here. I took, one subject verb, I went, and the second subject verb connection combined together with and to create a compound sentence. Okay? This is one way of transition. I would say most fundamental method of transition. By the way, one of the common mistakes in the essays is that students sometimes start a sentence with and or but. Okay? Even in Azerbaijani grammar, it is not allowed to start a sentence with and. Okay? In Azerbaijani, we can start a sentence with but not in English. Okay? This is in-sentence transition. Only inside the sentence you can use them to connect the clauses. All right? What is the second format of transition? Let's call them sentence starters. Right? What are sentence starters? For example, I can start my new sentence by saying furthermore, to add information, right? I can start my sentence by saying for instance, to give an example, or I can start my sentence by saying thus, to give result of the action or event that I mentioned in previous sentence, and many more versions. There are hundreds of linking words in English. Again, this is one of the topics that students struggle because especially if you are a person who have used Azerbaijani language. In Azerbaijani we have linking category in our grammar. We call them bağlayıcılar, right? But it's pretty limited in Azerbaijan, unfortunately. We have, I don't know, 7 or 8 bağlayıcı in our language, and I have never seen any person in my life who has used the word herçand, you know, when they are speaking or when they are writing. We technically use amma, ancak, lakin all the time. Okay. Contradiction, linking words, which matches with but, however, also in English. Okay, that's why even when we express our ideas, students struggle to use that vast majority of the linking words that you can find out. You can, it's actually linking words. I'm adding it here so that if you want to do some self-study on it, you can search these keywords and you will get a list of it and materials on the internet. This will help you to get ready for grammar beforehand. This will help you to get ready for coherence, cohesion beforehand. Okay, this is something you will develop during course. This is something you will develop during course. Okay, but these two topics would be better to be prepared beforehand. Now, actually, for lexical resource itself, I can give you an advice. Materials for pre-course, or let's say pre-preparation. Even if you are not planning to take the IELTS exam, but you want to have advanced level of English language in your speech or writing, there are 2 books that you can use. One of them is Vocabulary for IELTS. Another one of them is Grammar for IELTS. I've learned about these books and I practiced with them after I became an instructor. But even at that period, it helped me a lot. These 2 books, they were really helpful for me to stabilize my language knowledge. You know, sometimes I was making intuitive decisions about grammar. People who learn English language outside the classroom, we usually know that. For example, if I make conditional, I should say this in the next sentence, but we don't know what's the logic of it. Okay, we usually intuitively know that, okay, in this situation I have to use present perfect, but we don't understand the logic that, okay, it's because I mentioned action, not the time of it, right? These books will help you to understand what is the logic, why we are designing a sentence in a particular way. Okay? Any question until this point? Am I overloading you, or is everything clear? I don't know if you need photo, you are free to take the photo of the board, because I will need it. Good. We've talked about grammar, we've talked about coherence, cohesion. I told you book vocabulary for IELTS, for lexical resource, shortly about how to improve task response, okay? Again, structure part of the essay is highly up to the resource that you will use to prepare for the exam. Reality is that there is no official structure of writing in IELTS, okay? Like, IELTS hasn't published any structure of essay that we want this kind of essay from you. That would make our work easier for both students and teachers. You know, we would know what they want from us and we would work for higher score. But the thing is that writing is a tool for communication, right? A particular question is asked and you are expected to answer that question, to express your view about that question. Naturally, there is no structure for I cannot put your ideas into structure, okay? But again, when you are taking this exam, you have to keep in mind that this is academic exam. So the teachers that you will prepare with, or if you are doing self-study, the videos that you watch or courses that you are taking online, they will give you some kind of structure, advisable way of writing the essay. Please understand that they are all structures that the teachers designed throughout these years. Okay, structure that I teach to my students in my course is the structure that I believe would help you to get higher score and express your ideas adequately. It is not a structure designed by IELTS itself. Okay. So I don't want to touch the structure part of the matter. I want to talk about the approach to the topic in the writing section. Okay. Usually we struggle in approach to the topic in two cases. Case number one, I don't have enough information about this topic. Okay. There's one student of mine that we are preparing right now. He's a lawyer. Okay, so there was a discussion essay topic about crime. Topic is, some people think that the best way to deal with crimes is to give death penalty to criminals, while others argue that there are other methods that can be used. That's the topic. So you have to talk about why we should use death penalty, what can be other methods instead of death penalty. That's the focus of the topic. To my surprise, he struggled with the topic, because I thought that he's a lawyer. I don't know, my understanding was extremely basic in this case. Then he explained that I'm a lawyer in bank. Okay.
He wasn't a criminal.
I'm a corporate lawyer. What is your experience? I was like, okay, by my major at university, I've graduated from sociology, by the way. I'm a sociologist. I was like, as a sociologist, I thought as a lawyer, this is a topic closer to you than me. I know that you are not a criminal lawyer, but at least. But yeah, to my surprise, I saw that actually no. So the understanding of the topic doesn't always demand on what field you have studied or what field you are working at. Sometimes just having less information already makes the process difficult for you. What you can do is, by the way, the advice that I will give you here will also help you in reading section. I will talk about it later. Having ideas, right? To have proper ideas, what you can do is to read articles on specific topics that are commonly seen in IELTS. What kind of topics do we see? We see topics about social matters and psychological matters. Okay. For instance, we have topics on government should provide free education for every citizen. We have a topic about this is a social matter, right? Languages, how people communicate with each other, community, what are the rules, gender equality, you know. We have topics about psychology. In my second official exam, my topic of the exam, I don't precisely remember it, but my question there was like how to teach children to be responsible as part of the psychology. So reading, because why I have specifically mentioned this example, when I open this topic to discussion in my classes, majority of my students are like, I'm not a parent, how should I know? You know, that's, because that was also my reaction. Like in the exam, I opened it for 5 minutes, I was like, how should I know how to teach children to be responsible? So this is something that you have to read and have at least fundamental knowledge in case in the exam, if you face it, you would have some kind of ideas to talk about that, okay? I would advise you to read about science and history. When I say science, I mean it in the general meaning of the science, including physics, maybe including biology there, somehow including even geography into science here, because it is an academic exam. There are lots of scientific topics as well. I would advise you to read about art, music, or architecture as well. By the way, I don't want to scare you that like you need to be expert of architecture to talk about that, or I don't know, social topic will come, you need to be a sociologist to understand how to write that essay. Topics are common. Topic is, some people think that it is better to live in countryside, while others argue that it would be better to live in city center. That's the topic. But to understand that, you need to have a fundamental understanding of the social notions, right? What people expect from their living area, right? What makes life comfortable for a person. So reading articles in this topic would help you to have those basic ideas on which you can build opinion, okay? I would also advise you to read about technology, and just for rare cases, we can even at the matters related to astronomy, to planets, you know. I didn't mention it because we were talking about writing here. I don't remember any topic about planets or astronomy, but it generally will help your idea base to increase, so you can use them in the topics. I believe constantly reading articles about this matter opens up your understanding on what can be taught. This will not only help you in writing section. By the way, let's add a note here that PS to improve reading. This will also help you to improve your reading. I will talk about it in detail later. If I have the idea about the topic, then I know what I want to talk about in this topic. And then the second matter that you need to keep in mind is understanding the topic. Understanding the topic. Difficult part. We have already mentioned that writing is the most challenging section of IELTS, you know. What do you think? What would be your guess? Why people usually get lower score from writing? I gave you lots of information. Let's steam down a little bit. Let's have discussion. What can be reasons? Any guess? What would be your difficulty? I've already given you some topics, you know, you already know how they assess your essay. What difficulties would you expect from the exam yourself? Nothing? No difficulty? Then why do we get low score from writing?
Understanding the topic.
Understanding
Less
the topic.
information.
Huh? Less. Okay. Yes. You would be surprised to the number of off-topic essays written in the exam. Do you know what is off-topic? Like, topic as one thing, but you're talking about completely different thing. I don't know, I don't have any official statistics, I'm not a writing examiner, but from the essays of my students, I can say that up to 60% of essays written are off-topic. That's the main problem, okay? Because there is time demand. You have to write 2 essays in 1 hour in IELTS, and students are rushing. And they don't have much time to think about the topic and understand it clearly. So what usually happens is that they read the topic only 1 time, and then they rush to the essay and start to write something without even clearly understanding what this topic is asking for, okay? In the first lesson of our course, I always discuss this topic with my students. It's noted here. When choosing a job, the salary is the most important consideration. When choosing a job, the salary is the most important consideration. Question of this topic is very simple. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay. What I want to show you here is that in most of the writing task 2 topics, if not all of them, there is at least one game changer word in that topic that we usually don't see from the first glance. Like if I would ask you, what is that one word that changed the meaning of this topic completely? Which word would you choose?
Salary.
What do you think is the focus? Salary.
Salary.
Any other version?
Important.
Important. What else? Anything else?
The most.
Huh?
The most
It's obvious that he works in British councils. The most. The most actually changed the topic completely. Let me explain you why. Let's take this out. When choosing a job, the salary is important consideration. Okay. If I agree with it, money is important. If I disagree, money means nothing to me. Very straightforward, pretty direct topic, right? But the thing is that usually IELTS is not this simple actually. If you think about it deeper, it says when choosing a job, the salary is the most important consideration. So if I agree with it, money is important. If I disagree, it doesn't kill the importance of money here. Okay. What it means is that there are other things which are equally or more important than salary for me. Okay. So this topic is not asking if the salary is important or not. Of course it is. You know, let's be realistic. Every one of us work for salary, no matter how much we love our job. That would be so easy topic to talk about. But rather, what it is asking, like, what is my priority system when I choose a work? Okay. What are other factors that we consider besides salary? What do you think? You're choosing a job. Okay. What do you want to study? So? Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
What do you want to study in the future? As a job, what is your dream job?
I don't know.
Not sure.
Web programming maybe.
Programming. Okay. To be a programmer, right? Let's see. Okay. Yes. Lady, what is your plan? What do you? Yeah.
At the moment, I study in architecture and construction university.
Okay. What is your major? What do you study there?
In design.
Design, okay. So your plan is to become a designer, I guess. Yes. So my question is, what are the factors that you considered when you made this choice? What do you do, sir?
I'm a lawyer.
You're a lawyer. Okay, great. All right. So when you are choosing a job, when you are choosing a workplace, what are the factors that you consider? For all of you.
So maybe location.
Location, right? Yeah. Where is my workplace? Okay. Besides salary. Salary is clear. What else?
Working hours.
Huh?
Working hours.
Working hours, sorry?
Colleagues.
Yeah, okay, colleagues, yes, environment, right? Who am I working with? What else? Anything else?
Conditions.
Can you give detail? What do you mean by conditions?
I mean, if it's related to the workplace, and colleagues are included, environment.
Okay, maybe physical environment even, like, do I have my own room? Do I share my room with someone else? Is it an open space? Can I work from home, or should I go to office, or is it a field work? Do I have insurance? How far is my workplace from me? What are my additional benefits? Do I have any holidays? Do I have any vacations? We consider all these factors, right? What this topic wants you to discuss is not if the salary is important or not. What it wants you to discuss is all these factors that we have mentioned. If we put them in a priority list, is salary on top, or is it in the next parts of it? Do you have something that you value more in your work? Okay, a person doing voluntary job, right? What is their priority list? Logically, salary is at the end of that list. Okay, for them, what is more important? Contribution. How much I contribute. Okay, ask the majority of people who have become teachers, if you ask them why did you become teacher, especially in Azerbaijan, because of the expected salary rate of a teacher, obviously salary is not their priority, obviously. Okay. Contribution, helping people, teaching someone, being part of other people's lives. This is more important for them in their job than the salary itself. That's what this topic is asking you to discuss. Okay? People who don't have any IELTS experience, they will see this topic and go like, salary, it is important because salary is essential for this, salary is essential. That's not what it is asking for. Okay, so understanding the topic clearly is an important part, and I believe third and the next essential part of it is planning. Planning an essay before writing it. Okay. Not the style that we use in Azerbaijan again, because sadly in our country, essays that we write at school, they are more literature essays rather than academic essays. Okay. 11 years at school, no one has asked my opinion. Okay. So. No one, all right? Not just at school, at home as well. As a culture, we are not a culture where we ask our children's opinions. We just design a life and we demand them to live that life. We never sit down with our children and we're like, what do you think? To what extent do you agree or disagree? You know, it's never asked either in family meetings or at schools there. So it's difficult to create idea for us because we haven't been nurtured in that way, okay? And we forget the importance of planning. What students do, they read it one time, they start to write essay. I sometimes join trials, what I see is that writing timer started. Just 1 minute passes, someone is already writing an essay. I'm in shock, you know, like what kind of intelligence helps you to understand the topic in 1 minute, to find ideas. You already know what are your arguments for it, against it, reasons. You already have examples to support your idea and you have started to write your essay. That usually is unrealistic, okay? Idea here is not to blame someone, idea here is to explain you the importance of planning. If you plan on what you will say. Do I mostly agree or disagree with this topic? I personally mostly disagree with it, okay? So in my first paragraph, I will talk about salary, but in my second paragraph, with more ideas, I will talk about other priorities of mine, okay? What can I mention about the salary? I can mention that salary is important because it covers my daily needs, right? And then I can give example to that what are my daily needs, my food, my clothing, my living place, okay? So my idea for my first paragraph is ready. Then I move to my next paragraph, I will talk about my other priorities. What can I talk? Environment. Let me give example, colleagues and physical environment of workplace. What can I talk? Additional benefits. And I will give explanation as holidays and insurance type of benefits. And then a third idea, what can I mention? Contribution. And I will explain how I like to help people. If I have this planning, not here by the way, I just don't want to take your time and write it all, but on paper. Okay. First, second, third, just numbers shortly mentioned there. Writing essay becomes extremely easy. It will take less than 30 minutes for you to write that essay. Because it's not like you will write a sentence, stop and think about your next idea. Idea is there, you will just take it, make a sentence, take it, make a sentence. Okay. Usually what students do, they think that doing this planning, how much time does it take? 5-7 minutes. Why would I lose 5-7 minutes? Let me just start to write, you know. But throughout the process, they lose even more time because they write first idea, they stop and think. They write and they stop. As a result, it also affects their coherence negatively. Okay. Why? Because these ideas are not thought about or planned at one go. They are decided separately. So when you put them together, it is not an essay. It is just a list of statements that are irrelevant to each other. Okay? This is about how to improve your task response before starting the IELTS preparation. Obviously, during your IELTS course IELTS preparation, you will get way more information than this, mostly technical information. But this will help you to prepare yourself until that period. Okay? Any question? Anything unclear? Again, you can take photo if you want. Yeah, please. Right. Reading a little bit. Well, do you have any question from writing, by the way, before ending the writing? You can of course ask it later, but for now, any question that comes to your mind about writing? No?
No, everything is clear.
All good? Okay, alright, okay. Reading, second most difficult section of IELTS. Personally, my favorite. I have prepared for IELTS in 2018 as a student myself. I love this section, okay? Because I don't know, do you like doing crosswords? Have you ever done crosswords? Kind of things, Rebus, we had rebus in Czech. The back paper of newspapers, I don't know, have you seen it, like the big table, and you have to, that, doing reading looks like that, You have a passage, information is given there, and you have related questions. To me it is fun, that process of, you look at question, you read the passage, you find the word, and the joy of it, I found which word I should put there. I loved it since the first day. General structure of reading section, they give you, I'm talking about academic exam by the way, because we are all focused on educational side of it. They give you 3 texts, okay, and for each text, text you have 13 to 15 questions. In total there are 40 questions in the reading section, and you have 1 hour time to deal with that. In 1 hour you have to read 3 passages. While reading these passages you need to answer 13, 15 different questions about that passage. I can even go a little bit more detailed. Every text has 2-3 question sets with different types, okay? In general, in reading section, there are 16 different question types. Again, because I don't want to overload you with terminology, I will not write what are 16 question types and stuff. You can simply search IELTS reading test, look at 1-2 examples and understand what are the nature of the question types that you can see there. What do we need to deal with 3 texts in 1 hour of time? Answer the questions about them. What are the key needs for that? Let's go through them. What you need is obviously, firstly, vocabulary. I have to understand what I'm reading there in the passage, right? What I need is pace of reading. Now, what is pace of reading? How fast I can read. Okay. Are you an active reader? I'm not talking about lesson materials or work materials. Okay. I'm talking about reading. It can be books, articles. Okay. I read every day. Not work or okay. Not.
In English?
But in Russian.
For now, let's say in all languages. For now, in all, I read every day. Okay, right, good, right. I read every 3 days. Okay, getting better. I read every week. No, these 4 guys are like, I don't care. I read every month. No. I read at least once a year. I have read in my lifetime. Okay. Pace of reading. Active readers would know that feeling. When you start to read every day, after 2 or 3 weeks when you are reading a material, you don't read it line by line. You actually start to read it like 3 lines together. I don't understand how it works. Okay. Even though I'm very interested in neuroscience, I don't understand the logic of it, that how it happens that sometimes I'm reading full sentence together. It's like 3 lines, but I read it in one go. I don't know how brain processes that information. But that's mostly what pace of reading is. It's not only being fast, but also understanding that information at that speed. It is necessary because you have time limit there, okay? What else do you need? I think you need analytical thinking. because they give you a statement related to passage, okay, and they want you to decide if it is true, false, or not given there. For instance, right? So you need to have analytical thinking to look at information, analyze, and decide: should I choose true, should I choose false, should I choose not given here, right? What else would we need? Vocabulary, pace of reading, analytical thinking. I believe these are the core values. Let's say, not that important, but I think it contributes to knowledge about the topic. Would you agree it contributes? Okay, for example, how was your name, lady? Amina, right? If Amina reads a passage about architecture, interior design, right? Versus Amina reads about what? Philosophy of existentialism. Okay. I hope it's obvious that for Amina, first topic will be like, I don't know, it will be very easy. She will clearly understand. For second topic, I'm not saying she will not understand. Again, IELTS doesn't demand you to be expert of the field. You will eventually understand what they are saying. They don't go deep into terminology. But Amina's speed will decrease there. For some sentences, she will read it again. She will have some doubts, like, did I even understand it correctly? Okay. While from the opposite perspective, okay, in my case, I'm a sociologist, all right? If my passage is about the philosophy of existentialism, I'm like, okay, finally, this is my exam. If my passage will be about interior design, I'm like, okay, I have to read it carefully now, all right? So I believe this also affects it, okay? Vocabulary, pace of reading, analytical thinking, knowledge about the topic. How can I improve them? Yes, yes, solution is very simple actually, to read articles about these topics. Why? These are the main topics that you will see in the reading passages of IELTS. Okay? Let me think, do we have anything else? Well, let's start here. Space as well, the technology. As far as I remember, all those thousands of readings I have done, these are the main topics that they talk about in readings. Reading articles about these topics, it improves your vocabulary, topic vocabulary. You understand what these topics are using as a language, okay? I learned the word interior, I've already used it 3 or 4 times, sorry, I mean, that's my basic knowledge about design. I've learned it from my cousin, okay, as a topic. I know that in architecture this word is used a lot, okay? So, pace of reading. How can I get faster in reading? That's why I asked you earlier. By reading more frequently. It helps you to read 3-4 lines together rather than going line by line, okay? Analytical thinking. How it is improving to read articles, because you read and you contemplate, you read and you ponder about that, you read and you question what you read there, okay? Knowledge about the topic naturally. If you get the information, when you read about it, it will be easier, okay? To focus on the name of today's topic, how to guarantee higher than 7, okay? So my intention here is not just to help you to understand IELTS or to learn how to do averagely in IELTS, but how to get high score, okay? So the idea here is to how to make it more productive. That's what we did in writing section actually. I could tell you about types of essays, what are the questions, that's not my intention, okay? General knowledge about IELTS, what is the structure, you can get it everywhere. I want to teach you how to fundamentally develop yourself so you can score higher there, okay? So, let's be clear, during preparation. Okay, I'm not generally saying that these topics are taboo, but to make that process extra productive, what you shouldn't read, because this list, again, lots of teachers will tell you what to read, but lots of them do not tell you what not to read during this period. Don't read about politics. You will never see politics in IELTS. Reading about politics, elections, wars, neither vocabulary nor the ideas of it will give you any idea during the IELTS preparation process. Don't read about religion. Okay, again, this is not a personal attack to your beliefs. You can read the religious books of your beliefs, but not as a preparation for the exam. For your personal spiritual development, feel free. But if your plan during that period is to optimize your time for IELTS preparation, avoid reading it. Why? Because you will never see religion in IELTS. Okay? Do not read about your field. Okay. How was your name, sir?
Anar.
Anar, right? Yes. If Anar reads about law from now on, what would Anar gain from that? Of course, there are some parts of it that maybe Anar doesn't know, and maybe Anar would develop, but the fundamental vocabulary and understanding you should have to read a passage about general law, Anar already has it. There's nothing for Anar to learn from those topics. Okay? Do you work or study? How was your name?
Fidan.
Fidan. Do you work or study?
Study. Psychology.
Psychology. Oh, where?
Baku State.
Okay, we are from the same faculty.
Yes.
Yes. Psychology, right? Fidan, right? Fidan doesn't have anything to learn from psychology from this point on. She is already taught about psychology every day at school. Okay, again, for IELTS, you don't need to be expert of that field. You need to have general information. If you are a person of that field, you already have more than general information about it. So that will not help you. Okay, that's why when I asked you, do you read every day? I told you not your study materials, not your work documents. Okay, that doesn't contribute. All right, and of course, do not read about your interests. Right? I already know a lot about basketball. I already know a lot about cars. I already know a lot about movies. I have already watched hundreds of animes. There's nothing for me to read and learn about them, okay, on IELTS level, right? So instead of this, I will focus on reading this. I hope you understand that the approach here is completely opposite. I have to read about the things that I am less informed. I have to read about the things that I hate to read about. Okay, I have to read about the things that irritate me. Right? We have one trial material. Lots of students of mine struggle with it. It is about, there's a passage about monkeys and how their brain work. They have difficulty. They read it. They are, every time that trial comes after it, my students come and say, what was that trial? Where did you find that passage? Why did you choose that kind of material? I didn't understand anything. But I cannot give the same reaction, because what is mentioned in that passage about monkeys and how their brains work is actually common knowledge. You don't need to be expert of anthropology to know what that passage is talking about. It's common knowledge. The problem is that they don't read enough from this subcategory. Okay. They read about SpaceX and Tesla. All right. They read about Taylor Swift and how the last concert went. They read about, I don't know, how people are protesting in a particular country. But they don't read about monkeys and their brains. That's why when it comes in the exam, naturally they struggle to understand it. I'm not even talking about processing and answering the questions there. Okay? Where you can start from. Simple, very simple. Very simple. Students start the course. They think that I will give them some kind of magic, all right? They think that I will give them the main expectation from an IELTS course. They come to IELTS course with the answers to their questions like, how can I answer the question without reading the passage? There is maybe there is a magician-teacher combination somewhere that somehow you touch the text and it highlights the answers, but that's not how you get high score. Okay. Without reading the total passage, can I pass the IELTS exam? Yes, you can get 6.5 maximum. That's not my target with my students. That's not what I'm aiming for with my students. What I need is that overall should be 7 and higher. Okay. If that overall should be 7 and higher, to be realistic, I expect students to get lower from writing and speaking, because they are deep, they take longer to develop writing and speaking sections. Okay, so if my writing and speaking will be something like 6.5, for example, to guarantee 7 and higher, logically, what should I do? I have to get 8+ from listening or reading. That's the strategy that I use with students. So if I get 8+ from listening and reading, 6.5 from writing and speaking, that already gets me 7 in total, right? But it doesn't mean that, like, okay, writing, it takes longer time to develop, let's go after reading, it will be easy. It will not. It will not be easy, right? One thing that we have to accept, maybe I shouldn't say it as a modern teacher, as a methodologist. Modern education demands teachers to make their classroom fun, to make the process joyful. I also try to do it, you know. All the time I joke with my students, we discuss the topic. Sometimes we stop the lesson for 5 minutes, we discuss what happened yesterday. You know. I try to make the classroom fun, but let me be honest with you. I'm not saying it as a friend, so I'm not saying it as a teacher actually, I want to say it as a friend. Studying to be effective should be boring. Okay, it should be. I love sociology. I chose sociology because of my love. I love philosophy, psychology. It covered all these fields. I knew that I will not have career in that field. I chose sociology because I want to study something for 4 years that I will enjoy. But oh, God knows how I hated that process of 4 years. You know? Because to be productive, to get high score, to achieve something, it demands formality. Okay, I love reading about this, you can guess. I also enjoy reading about this. I love reading about art, music. I don't know. This is the furthest topic to me. I'm not much of interested in technology and space, you know. But when I'm preparing for IELTS, I change my websites. I turn to the websites that talk about technology. I turn to the website that talks about space. I read articles about economy. I don't know anything about economy, so accepting this weakness is necessary, that if I'm IELTS, I will face with a topic in economy, that's dead end for me, so I have to get some information, okay? Whatever I wrote here is not only for IELTS preparation, again, putting my teacher personality aside, for your personal development, okay? This, I always tell students that this is actually a shameful number. This is 3 articles every day. It's shameful number. Of course, what is 3 articles? Primary school children read more than this. 3 is shameful. If you are preparing for IELTS, what I do with my individual students, I push them to read 10 articles every day. I cannot do it in group classes, okay, because it's hard control if everyone read 10 articles. But with individual students, I push them every day, at least 10 articles. Because it is not a devastating number. It will not take your full day to read 10 articles, okay? You don't need to sit and read 10 articles one after another. Divide it throughout the day. 5 times a day, read 2 articles. That will be very easy, okay? Do you use public transport? I guess everyone uses public transport. Huh? Right? Public transport, or do you have? Does everyone have their own cars? No. Public transport. Right? How much time do you spend on public transport? Sir, I haven't heard your voice. How much time do you spend on public transport? How was your name?
Kamran.
Kamran, nice to meet you. Yes.
Nice to meet you too.
Averagely, every day.
1 or 2 times in a week. Generally, I prefer to walk on the foot.
Alright, okay. You are still investing. That's also investment. Alright. What about, okay. How was your name, sir? In the back? Yes. Timur, right? Yes. How much time do you spend on public transport every day? Average. You any transportation. Okay. You are not driving yourself, right?
Yeah. No.
So how much time does it take for you to be on transport in a day?
Every day, like 1 to 2 hours.
1-2 hours, right? What do you do during that 1 to 2 hours?
Sleeping or
Sightseeing, right? Sightseeing. Looking from the window. Like Baku is Vienna, you know, we have views that you would never want to miss, you know. Use that time. Okay. I know your schedule is full. Alright? I have lots of students who go to university, go to work, in the evening come to course. I load them with homework. They go home, they do homework, come back, work, university course, work, university course, okay? But they still manage to do it. Why? Because we do not spend majority of our time productively in a day. Okay? Including myself, if we open our phones now and look at the screen time and how much of it is social media, we usually don't look at it. I prefer not to look at it. When I look at it, I blame myself all day. I feel guilty, so I prefer to close my eyes to it. But that will sound so like coming from a traditional teacher. I have already got my IELTS score. I don't have any plan to take IELTS for now. But in case of you, you have academic targets. You have things that you need to reach, alright? So you shouldn't indulge yourself in that. A simple way to read is transport. I always try to read on transport. Transport is my reading time. I know that I cannot read at work, I know that I cannot read at home because I have more priorities. At work I need to do my work. At home I spend time with my family or I relax. The gap that I find is transportation. I know that everyone in Baku, if not driving, as a passenger, we spend at least 1 to 2 hours on transport every day. Okay? In 2 hours you can read 10 articles, you can do more than that. Okay? Right? You just need to think about how to optimize your time.
Even while driving, you may listen maybe.
For listening, yes. For listening, yes. For listening, we will talk about it. Of course, you can listen. But for, yes, please.
Do you advise any resources for
I generally believe that you can read from anywhere you want. Okay. But if you would ask for precise advices, I read a lot from sciencedaily.com. sciencedaily.com, because that website gives academic papers with their sources. Who was the scientist? What is the research? It's a pretty formal website. Sciencedaily.com. Yes. I read from BBC Earth. I read from National Geographic. I love their languages. They have simple and not simple. They have advanced but understandable language. And parallelly, I also read from news websites, but again, not politics. Okay, I read from news websites. I read from Bloomberg. I read from Economist. I read from Guardian. You know, but if I reach to my desired number, for example, if I'm preparing for the exam, I put a target for myself to read 10 articles every day. If I reach 10 articles, but I still have urge to read, then I read about my personal interest. I go and read in Forbes.com, who has the most expensive yacht in the world, right? Just for your language development, all these factors will be developed no matter what you read there, okay? But yeah, I don't know, top 3, again, to sum up, top 3 science websites, I like Science Daily, BBC Earth, National Geographic. Top 3 news websites, I like Bloomberg, Economist and Guardian. Okay. This, doing it before the exam would definitely help you to get ready for the reading section. Any question?
I have a question.
Please.
What will we pay attention is specific for managing time in special reading section?
Listen, one we have already taught, reading a lot, to improve your speed. Okay. I can assure you that if you would read 10 articles every day, you will finish the reading not in 1 hour, less than that. Okay. I have learned English at school. Okay. And I haven't studied in international school or stuff. Okay. I studied in extremely weird schools. You know. I've studied in Hökmeli Kənd Məktəbi. I've studied in Biləcəri Qəsəbə 2 saylı məktəb. I've graduated my high school from military school. I've studied in Nakhchivansky for my last years. You know. These are not obviously English specified schools. Okay. So I also come from same, maybe on educational context, even from worse background. But when I started my IELTS preparation in 2018, my timing in reading was 1 hour 13 minutes. It was my first reading. When I took the exam, it was 54 minutes. After 2 years in 2020, my reading timing was 48 minutes. In 2020, when did I take last exam? Last year or something, last year, yes, my timing was 32 minutes. I didn't need 1 hour, 32 minutes, okay. IELTS is extremely tiring exam, by the way, let me tell you. It takes 3 hours, there's no pause. You do listening, then you do reading, then you have to write 2 essays, there's no break, okay. Do you want to go toilet? You are losing from your own time, so some students choose not to go to toilet, you know, for 3 hours, rather than losing that 3 minutes, okay. Finished the reading in 32 minutes, went out, breathed some air, washed my face, sat there, thought about life, relaxed. So when I started writing, I was already fresh, okay? If you would ask me how I did it, very simple. I just did whatever I told you here. I just read, okay? I read 10 articles every day, because basic mathematics, okay? So I have 3 passages, right? I need to read 3 passages, okay? I need to understand and analyze these 3 passages. 3 different processes. I have to answer questions about these 3 different passages, again 3 separate processes. So we have 9 processes that we go through in 1 hour, okay? If I am adapted to read 10 articles, I'm already overdoing it in my daily life. It's pretty basic physiology, okay? What we expect from ourselves in again, physiology context, we do 10 push-ups every day, okay? And then when exam comes, we expect that I will do 50 push-ups and you will see. It's impossible. Your body has never done 50 push-ups. Your body doesn't know that feeling, okay? How much pressure you need, how much strength you need. What is the tempo? How can you breathe to do 50 push-ups? You have never trained your body for that. Okay? Same basic physiology. If your brain is not used to reading 10 articles every day, at some point of this process you will get tired. Okay? Let me tell you one myth about IELTS. Most people think that reading passages in IELTS are given in difficulty order. Passage 1 is easy, passage 2 is medium, passage 3 is difficult. It is not. Okay. It is not. Why this kind of idea is in the middle? Why people think it is this way? Majority of people don't read enough. So when they reach to the third passage, their brain always gets tired. And they think that the explanation is because this passage is difficult. No. There are hundreds of reading tests where difficult passage is the first one. If you every time reaching to third passage feel like it is the most difficult, I struggle the most with the third passage, it's not because of the passage, it's because physiologically you are not trained enough. You just get tired. Okay?
One is this, to read enough. Okay. Two, what can I do to improve that timing is the tactics. Okay. Why I cannot go deeper in that, because I told you 16 question types. Okay. Every question type has like 30 minutes of explanation on what is that question type, what it demands you to do, okay. In which case you have to use which tactic, what you should focus on. Right? If you have enough reading experience, you read every day, plus those tactics, you will definitely be successful in the exam. Okay? Any question about reading? No? All good, all clear. Will we read articles from now on? Let's go. You can take a photo if you want. We're going from difficult to easy one, right? So, next, in order to talk about this speaking. Yes, speaking section of IELTS. Again, some fundamentals about structure of it. Speaking exam takes something like 11 to 14 minutes. It's one-on-one process. There is you and the examiner. Throughout this timing, you go through 3 parts. Part 1, which is introduction. Part 2, which is imagination. Part 3, which is discussion. Briefly, part 1 is called introduction because the questions are about yourself. What do you like? What do you dislike? How is your daily life? What are your activities? What are hobbies? Your hobbies, okay? Several topics that you can be asked about in part 1. Your job, your studies, your living place, sports, music, movies, but not informative questions, okay? Questions like, do you like swimming? How often do you swim? How did you learn swimming? Do you think you will swim more in the future? These are the questions of swimming topic, for example. Collecting. What do you like collecting? What do you collect? Have you ever collected anything? What were people collecting in your childhood? That kind of questions. Part 2 is imagination because they give you a topic, 1 minute time to prepare a story. Describe a time when you met with an interesting old person. Think about it. And then for 2 minutes, you have to talk about this old person, okay? And then part 3 is discussion. Related to your part 2, they will ask opinion-based questions. For example, what can young people learn from old ones? Or next question can be opposite. What can old people learn from the young ones? When people need advice, do they mostly ask it to older people or their friends? Okay. Opinion-based questions in part 3. That's the structure of the speaking section. Now again, more than giving you technical information about the structure of the speaking, I would like to give you some tips and tricks. Priority demands of speaking section would be to be fluent, to be natural. Okay. I will again try to express it from my own experience. 3 IELTS exams, my speaking scores were corresponding to my overall score. I got 8, 8.5 from speaking. With the same speech that I'm using right now to communicate with you. Same level of speech. Okay, I didn't sophisticate my speech. I didn't add any extra vocabulary. I didn't add any specific grammar to my speech. Okay. I don't know if you feel it or not, but while I'm talking, I already used some advanced structures. This sentence itself was a compound sentence. I used but and connected two clauses. Right? So, being yourself will bring you higher score. Okay. In speaking exam, you don't need to sound like Shakespeare. In speaking exam, you don't need to sound like a philologist. You don't need to sound like a linguist. You just need to sound natural. Right? Lots of students think that writing and speaking, they demand the same thing. I have to be as academic as possible. No. No. They already check how academic you are in writing section. Why would they check it again? What they are checking in speaking is how fluent, how natural you are. Okay. About criteria. Do you remember criteria of writing? I explained earlier. Well, what do you remember from that? Let's rehearse. Grading criteria of writing, 4 categories based on what your essay is assessed. Task response, what else?
Coherence.
Lexical resource, coherence, cohesion. One last? Grammar range and accuracy. Right? Yes. Task response, coherence, cohesion, lexical resource, grammar range and accuracy. We have a similar criteria in speaking. What is expectation from you in speaking? Category number 1, fluency and coherence. They are together. Do you know what is fluency? How do you understand fluency?
Talking fast.
Is it about speed? I'm a slow speaker. Do you feel I'm a slow speaker, slower than average? Or is it me making complex about my speech? I think I'm a slow speaker, alright? Does it make me less fluent? No. No. So what is fluency? Non-stop. Okay, yeah. That would be more precise. Talking non-stop. Again, it is not like when I stop and take my breath or give you some time to think, I'm breaking my fluency. But while I'm making sentences, I try not to stop in the middle of sentence and think like, and then again continue my sentence. This was a break of fluency there. Okay, fluency means you are talking without stopping in the middle of sentence. You don't think about next word. You don't think about how to continue your sentence. You don't go like, I'm not saying that every time you make, they cut your score, okay? Scoring system is way more complicated than that. Sometimes students are like, oh, I made 3 times, so how much score do I lose? It doesn't work that way, okay? But rather, it is something about if this affects my understanding of your sentence or not, okay? If those create a problem for me to understand you, now that is a fluency error. Coherence, we talked about it in writing already, logical